Meeting Michael.
So I had a gallery in Hilton Head. It was called Artistic Sass, and by had it, I mean I was in it. I don't mean I owned the gallery. But I love that gallery because everything I sent them, they sold, and they've moved, and they're no longer there. But I went in the gallery one day, and they said, "Do you have time to meet a fan?" I said, "Certainly." Now, this was a long time ago, but I said, "Certainly." And they introduced me to a guy. He said his name was Michael Clark, and he said, "I'm Michael Clark, the painter." And at the end of our conversation, he handed me a card with his name and a phone number and said we ought to get together sometime and have a couple of drinks. So after he left, the owners came up and said, "Do you know who that was?" And I said, "Well, he said he was Michael Clark, the painter." And they said, "No, that's Michael Clark, the drummer from the Byrds." Now, young people may not know who the Byrds were, but at one point they were one of basically the top music group in the world. And I said, "Oh, really?" Well, anyway, we ended up getting together a few times, and Michael traded me two of his original paintings for one of my large linocuts. And that seemed odd, but in art, I was better known than he was, and that's what he said. He said, "You're better known as an artist than I am." And last time I saw him, he said, "Well, I'm going on tour, and at Christmas I have a 2-week break, and I'm going to come back and hang out with you for a couple of weeks." And he said, "While I'm gone, I'm going to promote your work to some of my friends, see if I can get them to collect it," because he had been collecting my work. Well, I never heard from him, and I didn't think about it. I just thought he got busy and. And then I mentioned to a friend that he didn't show up, and he said, "Oh, you didn't hear? He died from a heart attack." Well, I called his mom to tell her how sorry I was to hear about that. He had given me his mom's number because he said he periodically changed his cell phone number because fans would get it and bother him, and he'd have to change his number. But he gave me his mother's number, saying, "That way you can always get in touch with me." Well, when I called her and told her I was so sorry to hear about Michael, and she said, "Oh, Carter, your artwork's all over our house." She said he brought all his artwork here and stored it when he went on the road, and it's all over my house. She said, "I have a lot of your artwork." Just one of those things. I really do miss Michael. He was a great guy. Really fun to hang out with.